Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tammy here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. I'm so happy that many of you can join us today. I wanted to kind of share with you what we're doing today and how we're going to do this kind of moving forward. So I know that many of you have a lot of sanctuaries you're supporting, and we want to be able to get you updates on what's happening at the sanctuary and your cats all the time. So this is what I'm going to be doing on a weekly basis. It's going to be called the Wildcat Wrap Up, and we're going to do it weekly starting here on Facebook, and then eventually in the next few weeks also going to YouTube Live. I'm Fortunately, I can't see a lot of your comments to know down here how it's scrolling at the bottom of the page. But hopefully I can answer questions that come up during the week, but also just kind of give you a status of the sanctuary kind of update. So Maria, it's so nice to have you here. I've seen other people coming through on the feed. Hi, Faith. The biggest thing is with here, we are not going to be able to answer every question on how a cat is doing, but hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of what's been going on at the sanctuary and cats. Hi, Lori Ann. Thanks for joining us. And Sherry and Kathy. Nice seeing all of you guys. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about that I'm going to be doing kind of a Wildcat wrap-up once a week, hopefully Thursdays at 1 o'clock here on Facebook and then also on YouTube Live. So we'll be talking about if we transition off of Facebook, you guys can all go to YouTube Live as well. And so Christine, thank you for coming. Carrie's on. There's so many of you are on. So kind of to give you an update. Well, first of all, we launched a triple match. And thanks to all of you who unlocked that double match to get us to the triple match. We really have through the end of the month to generate 4 months of operating. It really goes a long way to do everything we need to do for the cats. And so thank you for those that have donated, those that have sponsored. Sponsorships do count. Monthly Pride donations count if they come in on April and May. And then also you'll want to put on your calendars that we're going to have a live post-marathon day on Tuesday the 25th, kind of to culminate the last week of the triple match and see if we can garner even more support for the cats. So just some updates that's going on right here at the sanctuary. From staffing standpoint, we've added some team members, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. We have a gentleman by the name of Bobby that joined our facilities and maintenance team, and so we're really excited to have him. He's moved locally here, and he's kind of working under Jesse right now to get kind of his shoes wet, or I should say mud boots wet right now based on it. And then also, if you guys haven't joined TikTok, you definitely want to. You might remember Olivia, who was a former media intern of ours. She's been volunteering and running the TikTok page and doing Instagram and other videos over the last several months. And then she became a part-time off-site employee. And we're excited to state that Olivia will be joining our team permanently and full-time coming in June or July this summer. And she's going to be moving here to Sandstone and being on site and being able to support Judson as well to bring you more content, more videos, things like that. So it's wonderful when we see our team expanding. Of course, we always hate to see our interns rotate off and things like that. But we're so thankful that many of them do come back and volunteer, and some come back to being employees. The other thing that our staff was doing this week is, every morning we have what we call a morning huddle, where our staff all gets together. We go through any issues or comments from cats that were put into the animal care software overnight. Those emails also go to every caretaker. So we have multiple ways to keep everybody up to date on the cats. But we also have animal care status too. And what that is that's really the animal care team that sits together. And we do different things. So we talk more in depth about what the cats need, what aging cats might need, what future moves might happen, what's coming up for vet days, if there's more operant conditioning needed for a certain cat to go into their crates, things like that. But this week it was an enrichment brainstorm. So as you guys have seen on our live posts and everything else, we do a lot of enrichment for the cats. But we also wanted to make sure it was always fresh. And it wasn't about, even though Daisy loves her boxes, It's not about just giving enrichment and checking the box, no pun intended. It's about making sure that enrichment is really creating something good for the cats and creating it for a duration of time. So we were talking about different ways that we could lengthen enrichment times that the cats are doing it, even if it's different. So one thing we talked about is cheetahs are patrollers. They are patrollers by nature. They patrol their territory. It's very well known in captivity. So when the cheetah boys go back down to their home in the summer from quarantine, we'll talk about that as, you know, even just interrupting their patrolling path by putting a big log there or putting a platform that they're not used to seeing makes them go up, over, have to think about that. It's just not going to be innate in their mind to just kind of do their patrol again. They have to start thinking about it, just like they would in the wild. If they patrolled in the wild, their same path, there would still be different obstacles and different things they would see. Also, because cheetahs are very visual hunters, enrichment that can do visual stimulation is really great for them. So even pinwheels outside their habitat to watch, wind chimes that move and sparkle, or having cats across the way like Anastasia and Shrek are just great forms of visual enrichment. And so each cat might be different, but we also know we want cats to do natural behaviors. We want big cats to be able to tug and pull like they would if they were moving prey items. So we've talked about everything from putting a carcass that we feed out tied to a heavy log so they'd have to drag it, even chaining some type of meat to the fence so they're doing a pulling behavior, chaining it up high so they're climbing up. Things that you've seen done at zoos and everything before, so there's really not always new ideas, but it's refreshing to sit down with the caretakers and brainstorm how long and how much it can keep them stimulated. And then there's progressive enrichment, things that we really like that at first you might take the deer scent that we use and instead of spraying it across the enclosure like you might do with perfume, you actually put it on a rope and you kind of drag it through the yard. So similar to like a deer trail would be in the wild, then when the cats come out, they're actually following the trail. And then the next day you might put hide. So as they're following the trail, they come across deer hide. At the end of it, that's where you might on the third day put a carcass or their food pile. So after they've done the trail, they smell the hide, they actually get the reward. So it's kind of mirroring how they would go about tracking animals and eating animals in the wild. So it was a really fun day, and the sanctuary staff brought so many good ideas, and you know, we're hoping to implement them. Even on Huddle today, Kelly asked everybody, what is the good enrichment item you're going to be doing today for the cats in your zone? So that was really awesome. So what's been going on at the sanctuary here facility-wise is it is not even spring. Well, it's spring legally, I guess, on the calendar, but it's not spring here. We still have piles of snow, and it has been one of the toughest winters we've had. I think we're the top 6 snowiest winter Minnesota's ever had. The caretakers and staff have just been shoveling and shoveling and shoveling. The animals don't seem to mind as much as we do because there's just nowhere else to put snow. And then the problem comes in now, we've had some melting. And where does it go when you still have big ravines of snow and piles of snow and hills of snow? It just starts rushing down those paths that we've shoveled. It was even going over our road, and we had to put pumps in because it was just from one of the swamps to the ponds, the culverts were still frozen. So it's been a lot of work for the staff. So, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about that and what spring means for the sanctuary. But if you're just joining us again, I'm Tammy. I'm the founder and executive director of the Wildcat Sanctuary, and we're going to be start doing these weekly Wildcat wrap-ups so that we can share with you what's been going on at the sanctuary, past the live posts, past the photo posts, kind of give you some inside scoop of what's going on. So you'll want to join every Thursday here and YouTube Live for these updates. Unfortunately, with these updates, we can't share every part of an update on every cat. But if you are a sponsor parent, make sure you reach out and email your sponsor coordinators because they can always give you updates as well. So in spring right now, we've had a bunch of recurves rewelded because, as you know, with our ice this winter and the storms, we had some damage to our enclosures, especially Henry Haley's, Gino and Alyssa's, some serval areas where the inclines and stuff did not maintain their integrity like we would like to. And so we will do everything up to our standards to ensure that we have the highest of safety. So we're redoing those. And that'll be our first project is Henry and Haley's securing their roof from the storm damage and the inclines on the other. It's crazy when we drive into the sanctuary. We knew the ice damage had caused a lot of tree downs, but now that the snow's going, it's amazing how much broken trees. It almost looks like a tornado went through the road, and it was all the ice damage. You guys also in January helped us purchase such much needed UTVs. Not only for the caretakers, but for the vet teams so that they always have some, a vehicle that they can go out on the road, out in the field and check on cats. We just didn't have enough UTVs or all-terrain vehicles for everybody here at the sanctuary. So Jesse Facilities has ordered them. We still have things that kind of have a longer lead time. You'd think after COVID they'd catch up, but our first new UTV should be delivered next month and then this month and then the following in April. So we will definitely share photos and share them in use because your donations made those important vehicles possible for the sanctuary. So thank you. They've been putting up food chutes because you guys purchased food chutes. So a lot of the food chutes were working well for us. They're beautiful. The cats like them. There are some food chutes that no matter how much we measured and problem solved, there's an issue with the placement because of where the door is or the kennel is or where the pulley is for the guillotine door. Even Elise mentioned the ones that we had earmarked to put on the swinging kennel doors versus the walls. Well, then when we put up to crate a cat and we go to shut the door, that's blocking that the crate door can't shut. So all these small things that we think. And so if there's really problem in areas, in certain kennels, we're gonna actually put those food chutes outside in their yard so they still get the benefit of the large prey items. And then we'll have to get creative about some of those doors that are really close to the walls or have some problems. But I mean, Alyssa, the Tiger Trio, Alana and Aurora, there's a lot of them that are really, really benefiting from those food chutes you purchased. So thank you guys so much for that. So we also in spring, because we have our 4 seasons, and when we have springs like this, we know the water and the thaw are going to be a problem, and our road can get really, really muddy and soft. And so part of our crisis planning and everything is to make sure we have enough food and supplies that we need for about a month to 2 months during this time when the big semis might not be able to get down the dirt road to us for food and things like that. So our diet coordinator has been stocking up on meat and everything we need. And luckily we have skidsters and UTVs if we have to do things down the road. And then of course, our neighbor has a very big tractor, and on our worst seasons, he's been able to tractor things in. But we've also been investing in the township road, even though it's not our property, every year to try and make it a better road so that we don't have those problems, so that we have accessibility for the sanctuary. All right. So the other thing going on this week is, so crisis planning is a big thing we do. We have to look at fire prevention. You've seen that photo of us in northern woods. It's lovely to be isolated, but we kind of have to act as our own town and response team. And so tomorrow we start doing the fire break. Every year we go around the entire property. We knock down trees and stumps and things like that so that there's a fire break if there ever was a wildfire. We also have the Department of Natural Resources fire response team coming out on Monday for a tour. And there we talk about the fire dangers, what could happen, what needs to happen. And luckily, we don't have a lot of fires in our area, but we had a 100-year fire over a decade ago that was a big deal. And so we put that in our prevention plan, just like tornadoes, just like floods, things like that. And then it's spring transition time, hopefully. It's supposed to be in the 70s next week. We're a month behind the normal Minnesota schedule. By now, we've usually seen 70 degrees, and we're lucky if we've even hit 50. And I think today we're in the 30s. But starting next week, we're supposed to be in the 60s and 70s. We're going to have quick melts. And so we're going to be pumping out enclosures if they need it. We have tons of sump pumps. And we always need more so that we can pump out enclosures if the water's getting too high based on how quickly the thaw is. It's the time of year that we start putting away heated water buckets and electrical cords and bringing out the summer buckets, putting up the shade cloths. Even though most of the habitats have a lot of treed areas, we definitely want extra shade for the geriatric cats that have compromised kidneys and those that might have not so mature trees and things like that. So we're always rotating. We also put bamboo right on the lockouts because the cats eat in their lockouts in the summer and we want them to have shade. I see somebody's asking if we still need water pumps. We have some right now, and you guys did step forward to buy some, so I'll check with Jesse and we'll post again if we need more. So I appreciate that so much. And Kathy said it looks like there's going to be a lot of mud for us, and will Daisy approve of a normal water bucket? No, Daisy has a $700 water bucket in her outdoor yard that has been welded by a professional welder because she has won the war with every water bucket we've given her all the time. And so to her, a water bucket is a toy, no matter how many she gets, no matter what form they're in. But thank you for bringing that up because that is something Daisy does. So let's talk about cats. I know if you're just joining us, we're here for the weekly Wildcat wrap-up. I'm going to do this once a week, kind of on the happenings that's been going on here at the sanctuary. So cats. So as I mentioned before, there's so many wonderful sponsor parents on these wrap-ups. I can't talk about every cat, even though I want to talk about some of them and the things that have been going on. But remember, if you're a sponsor parent, reach out to your sponsor coordinators, ask for an update. They're happy to give those to you. We really try, if there's anything big happening in the cat's life, permanent mergers, not temporary play date mergers, but vet days, things like that, to give updates. But things happen fast here, and then things get postponed due to weather. As you know, Gino was supposed to have his exam today, but we had ice storms the last 2 days, and so we pushed it till next week just in case there was a problem getting access to the road by all staff, things like that. So that's why it's hard to do in the moment updates all the time, because things are ever changing. But so Emery, I know people have asked about her. She's the new gray and white stray kitty. She is doing great, and she's a sweetheart. She has ear mites, so she's being treated for that upon intake. Before we can even start play dates with Mr. Oreo and Benny. We want to make sure those ear mites are cured, but she's getting a lot of love and attention in the hospital right now. And then the caretakers noticed there was cat footprints all around small cat track today, domestic cat footprints. And so we thought, oh, we might have another stray cat. This is the time of year we start seeing them move in. And we will definitely put a cat trap up once the weather gets a little warmer to see if it was just a passing through cat or if it's a cat that's going to need attention, adoption, or a feral cat program. So also, Kiara, the sanctuary dog, is going to go home with me tonight, and then I'm going to drop her off and bring her to the groomers in the morning, her first grooming appointment, and then Judson's going to bring her up to the sanctuary from the groomers. Kiara is the sweetest, most perfect dog for 90% of the people she meets, and then there's 10% that she really likes to be intimidated by with no reason that we can see whatsoever. So we're really hoping she likes her groomer. A lot of people also ask how Dash and Thor's mergers going, or play dates on the shared wall. I think they're getting a lot of stimulation from each other, and Dash is building up confidence to go sit at the wall a little more. But Dash is really a scaredy cat when it comes to this. He is very defensive. He's, it's going to take a long, long time. So there won't be a play date in the near future. We'll just keep them on a shared wall. And, with the new witness protection tigers that came to us and some other pending cases, I do think we'll still have more options for mergers or friends. And sometimes tigers want to live alone, and we don't make them live with other cats. If they want to, that's great. And if we see compatibility, we make miracle matches. But an animal's never forced to live with another cat if they prefer to live alone. And then we talked about it. We have witness protection tigers. So that's been busy with everything of assessing them and if they need medications, if they need diet plans, if they need exercise plans for joint mobility. One already needed a procedure. So we're hoping we can share those cases with you in the near future. But as you know, it's always up to the authorities that are managing the case. And a good question, somebody asked us, if they're witness protection, how can you show us pictures from their side or back if tiger stripes are all unique? Well, that's really, again, up to what we're approved to show. So even though tiger stripes are individual, there isn't a lot of places and people when multiple seizure cases are happening around the country, or even placements, confidential placements around the country, that are going and looking for tiger stripes. If it was a very, very, very sensitive case, the authorities wouldn't even approve us to put up those type of pictures. So it's really depending upon why they're here and what is pending on the case of what we can and can't share. So the other thing, the cheetah boys. I know all of you miss the cheetah boys. They move up to quarantine, which we call their winter homes, because Lavani and Kitu then have bigger indoor rooms, and they have 2 of them because obviously we want them to spend more time in during cold weather. We have to help the cheetahs by rewarding them make good decisions because they prefer to be outside in the winter. Imagine that. So they get locked in every night in their heated rooms, encouraged to stay inside, but the staff give them a lot of straw and things outside, and we have a radiant heater that a donor purchased and things like that. Now, this time last year, they were moved back out to their summer run down in Cougar Cove area. But we still have so much snow. I can't believe that we didn't have snow covering the ground last year. So we're hoping in the next couple weeks they can move down there. We'd like to clear out some trees and do some pre-work on that habitat that they lived in before they move down, so they don't have to lock in for an extended period of time. But as you know, those boys came to us as senior cheetahs. They were retired from the species survival program. And Lavani's always come with gastritis, which is very, very common in captive cheetahs. It's really the highest reason of mortality in captivity. A lot of it can be internalized stress, not just like GI or IBD like the Bengal cats have. And so we do a lot to try and prevent stress, but they're just a high stress species, much like servals. So Lavani's been having some flare-ups of his gastritis. We tried to give him more medication to help with that, but Lavani is a very picky eater. So the more meds that we tried to get into him, the less he wanted to eat. So he was seen under an exam. We couldn't find anything new that was causing the issues. His blood work looked good. And so we made the decision with the vet team to stop all medication to see if it was more behavioral and he would start eating again. Because he had lost weight too. And the good news is he is eating great again. He's still on the thinner side, so he might be having some absorption issues because of the gastritis, but he's been really excited to eat his food. He still takes it little by his teeth to kind of go through every little piece to see if there's medication in there. So talking to our vet team, getting him to eat consistently, even though he has gastritis, which leads to diarrhea, is better than him obviously going off food to the point he's getting emaciated and not healthy. And so there's only so much we can do with cats that don't want to eat meds, but the staff try everything. And the good news is it's a balance. Every type of medication, in most cases, a balance, unless it's a heart med or a blood pressure med, is, yes, the Serenia can make him have a little happier tummy, but if he's going off food, then, then he's hungry, uncomfortable, and losing weight. So it's a balance. But right now the boys are doing good again. Josie, our little domestic special needs girl upstairs, she has chronic eye issues from that trauma she had to her face. And so now she's scratched her eye again. A lot of it is she's scratching it herself. So we're trying her on some allergy meds and some other antibiotics. It's nothing too major. It's just going to be a chronic issue we always deal with. As you know, baby Jenga had tooth extractions a week or so ago. And we always, get nervous when we have to anesthetize an 18 or older cat that has some issues, but luckily his blood work looked great. For his age, he's been doing wonderfully ever since he got his teeth extracted and hasn't had any issues. And now Bosco, who's a 20-year-old serval, has a little bit of swollen face, and he is even more compromised than Baby based on his age. So we're really trying antibiotics first, and so if he's eating, he's doing everything normally, it's just this little bit of swelling we see, so we'll determine if he needs to be knocked down for a further exam. And then we have a lot of spring moves coming. Come spring, that's when the cheetahs move back. That's when we're looking at moving the lion cubs to their permanent enclosure, the Ukraine lion cubs, looking at other miracle matches or friendships that can occur, and then oftentimes moving the older cats that are having more difficult time getting around to more specialized habitat. So we'll keep you updated on all those news as we go. And then spring, like we said, is supposed to be coming, so we put cats on allergy meds that have had chronic allergies. And we start that now before all the pollen comes out. So Savannah Andre is on allergy meds, Savannah Hilo, Savannah Maximilian, Ty the Jungle Cat, Serval Rio, Leopard Shazam, and Bengal Sebastian Stan. So you can see a lot of our allergy cats are the hybrids and Bengals, which doesn't surprise me because they have so many immune issues as it is. And then we've been giving Silencia. So I know many of you guys have talked about Silencia in your cats, and that is a new sub-Q injection for osteoarthritis in cats only, and it's supposed to block the nerve, the pain sensors, I should say, more than the nerves, and so that they don't feel the pain of the osteoarthritis. And but it has to be given sub-Q, so you have to have an animal that's trained or willing to rub the fence. And so far we've tried it in jungle cat Ty, Serval Scarlet because she's had chronic metabolic bone disease, Edgar, the domestic cat upstairs, and Bosco, the serval. And we've seen wonderful results in Ty, Scarlet. Bosco, he's just an easygoing cat, so I don't know if we're going to see a big difference. And since his knees joints are fused, he's not going to get more mobility, but it should be making him more comfortable. And then baby Jenga received one when he was sedated, and it seems to be helping. And then Lynx Aria is being trained, sadly, because of her poor declaw job. But Baby and Aria are being a little more testy, where they do not, once they get the shot once, they're not wanting to come back for their monthly shot. So we'll be kind of watching them. And that's kind of the big news that's been happening here. Next week, we will try and bring you Gino's exam live from the hospital. There's some play dates going on. And once we know those play dates work, especially in the hybrid groups, we will be letting sponsors know for sure. But sometimes there's a lot of trial and I wouldn't say error because we don't allow for errors. We separate them before there is, but trying to get cats to get along. Like I said, we should just start a soap opera show. You guys would really enjoy all the love interests and the breakups and everybody. So, right now things are going pretty well. That weather, like I said, is if we could raise money for a biodome, I sure would. But, knowing that we had a hard winter, then I look at tornadoes, other places, hurricanes, fire. There isn't a sanctuary that doesn't face natural disasters or extremes and something these days. We've had a lot of sanctuaries reach out to us on our bungalows and our buildings and ask for those designs because sanctuaries that never needed indoor temperature housing in the past does now because they're seeing more extremes temperatures in their areas too. So luckily, our cats are all safe and sound, and we designed the building and the indoor bedrooms for that. And we still are looking at next year and doing designs right now on a new hybrid haven area. So we have to go through zoning and things like that, but we think it would cut down on our time for maintenance, mowing, snow removal, and also allow that time to be reallocated to spending time with those hybrids and Bengals that want attention from the staff and interns. And to me, that's really, really important. And then it would give a more year-round dynamic space. So we'll keep you rested on that. We're just in the beginning stages of that. So Faye's asking, why is Edgar given the medication? Edgar has osteoarthritis too, just because of his age. So anybody that's getting that Silencia injection is arthritis. It might be from metabolic bone disease, the declaw, or just old age, but that's the biggest reason cats are getting that. And so we'll keep you updated as more things take place. And always, if you have any questions, put it on a post, reach out to me personally. We want you to know what's going on here at the sanctuary. I just don't always remember every detail that I haven't shared. So never hesitate to ask. This is your sanctuary as much as it's the cats and ours here working. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you every Thursday around 1 o'clock Central Standard Time for the Wildcat wrap-up here and on YouTube Live. Really, thank you again for the triple match. Don't forget that this month and this month only, your gift is tripled up to $70,000 by a generous donor. So I know many of you have given once. If you can give again, great. If you can share our post about the triple match, even more great, because the more people that know, the more we can help the cats here and those that are still out there waiting for rescue. So have a great rest of your week, everyone.